This is for the creators. Hey, this is Ryan now. I'm an artist, producer, and entrepreneur, and co-host of this podcast, For the Creators. Today we sit down with Jay London, a presenter, DJ, and entrepreneur himself. We explore how Jay became this kind of creator and how he got to where he is today through the many ups and downs. I'm sure you're going to get a lot from this episode. This is episode 1, and we want to grow this audience as big as possible. So share with friends, share with collaborators, share with people that you're working with. I'm sure you all get a lot out of this episode and all of the episodes to come. Thanks for joining us and enjoy. Welcome to the show.
Thanks,
Mr. Jay London.
I'm here. It's been a long time coming.
It's been a very long time.
I'm meaning to come to the studio for a little while.
Yeah.
Not been many invites.
There's been many invites.
Been a couple.
There's been a lot of class schedules.
And yeah, I knew it was a matter of time. Like, we're here now, and I knew it was one of them ones where it would have happened when it needed to happen. I guess, like before, you know, I just wanted to come and just hear some music, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, sorry.
I
brought you on false pretense.
Just wanted to come and hear some beats, like, but yeah, at least this is productive.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
it's not just fun.
Yeah. So, Jay, what kind of creator are you?
I don't know. Are there different types of creators?
Yeah, I mean, what is a creator to you?
For me, a creator is kind of like what people probably define as an entrepreneur. But I wouldn't call myself an entrepreneur. Even though I own a business and I own my own brand and I'm doing as much as I can, trying to squeeze into as much of a day as I can. But I don't know. I'd call someone like Alan Sugar an entrepreneur. But I think a creator is what we know in this generation as entrepreneur, because you know it's having that mentality to just try and do and create and not be satisfied, not sit down and always be itchy and restless if you're not creating, without actually consciously realizing it. So I probably didn't even realize that I'm a creator until you actually said, come on the show and we want to speak to you about being a creator, because I'm just doing what I've known to be natural to me from day one, which is, you know, I studied art at school. And I think that's kind of like where it started.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did that in college, and that was just because I was good at art. Like it was just a hobby.
How did you know you were like good at art?
Because I was in school and everyone was asking me to draw pictures. So it's like, and like with everything, when you do something long enough, you get good at it. So for me, like that was my pastime. Like I would just draw pictures. Like the best toy that my mum could get me was just like a sketchbook and a pen or a pencil and a rubber, and I'd just sit at home drawing. Like, and that was, for me, that was my idea of fun at the time. Yeah. So I think from those days, that started my sort of creativity, without even realizing it. Wow. I think speaking to you now today is probably going to realize a lot of self-truths are going to come out, because even now I'm saying it to you now, I probably didn't even clock it. It was just something that I did, and I was like, yeah, I'm good at art, so let me just draw. And then I was in school and I was good at it, so I was just literally drawing all the time. It's my favourite subject. That, as well as drama. I really love drama. Because they were both subjects that kind of were a little bit out of the academic norm. Like, I'm terrible at maths. I did like English, science. I never really got my head round. So things like the practical stuff, like drama, or, you know, things that you're using, like your hands or your personality and things like that, was always a lot more appealing to me. And I think those are kind of the roots that stem the creativity when you get to like our age. So you find yourself doing creative things, and then it's only when you sit down on a podcast, like years later, that you realise that you probably are a creator. So yeah, to answer your question, going back to your question as to what type of creator am I think I'm just the type of creator that we know as an entrepreneur in this day and age. Someone who is just trying to do as much as they can, trying to do things that are a little bit more outside the box, never satisfied with the things that are put in front of them, and just trying to leave a mark on the world, man. Just before you die, because it's just one of those things. Make mum proud and like just do as much as you can. So if that's what makes a creator, then I guess that's the type of creator I am, because I know there's loads of different aspects of work, and you know, you can do a 9 to 5. We've all done that. And you can still be creative in that industry, but for me, like working a 9 to 5, that was never creative enough. So I think it's just exploring what makes you happy, and what fulfills me is being able to do something different each day, and being able to use my imagination and creativity to actually produce something that is like, okay, cool, that's actually pretty sick when you look back at it.
Yeah. That's crazy, because obviously, I mean, anyone listening, so Jay is a presenter, but also runs a business called THRDS, which is all about photography and like art direction, and basically like a creative consultancy, pretty much. Yeah,
so there's 3 aspects to it. So we've got the platform, which is kind of what birthed THRDS in the first place. That's where we get to explore our creativity. So we get to produce content that we like to produce. So, you know, editorials like we've done with yourself, videos, the stuff that kind of like the bread and butter stuff that kind of made us who we are today. That was like 5 years ago. So there's the platform side, there's the agency side, which is something that we've probably been doing for about 2.5 to 3 years, but we never really defined it as an agency. We kind of just did the work, but that is now an agency. So now we have a separate element to that. There's a website, and it's literally known as THRDS Creative, and that's just a case of creating work for clients. So we have retainers with clients. We work with a lot of fashion brands. We're currently working on Cat Footwear's brand for 2018, their UK campaign and global campaign, which is across like loads of different countries, and that's filming and producing the content for them, giving them the content, and then that's it. You wouldn't even know that THRDS has produced it, because that's the creative agency side. And then we've got the studio, which is down not too far from here, which you're going to come to soon. And that's where literally it's a studio, it's a photography studio. It's got a big infinity cove. We rent a hot desk space there as well, and people come to do shoots there. So a lot of the time, the 3 elements and 3 branches intertwine with each other, especially the creative side and the studio side. But yeah, so that's how we have. It took us a while to be able to define it like that, because in the first initial stages, we was trying to do all of all 3 of those things under THRDS, like just the name THRDS.
Yeah.
So when someone would ask us what is THRDS, it was like, oh, do you know, it's a bit tricky, because it's kind of like we're a studio, we do creative stuff, and then we're a platform as well. So it's just, yeah, it's a breath of fresh air to be able to now sit here and explain it in 3 different sections. And it's just a lot more easier for people to understand what we're actually doing on a day-to-day basis. Yeah,
for sure. But I mean, obviously, that takes the time, and it takes having those meetings and really refining what that message is.
Yeah, because neither me and my business partner Andre, we never studied business. Like, we never planned to start a business. We just turned something that was a hobby that we loved doing into something that was productive. There was a demand for the content that we was creating, because we've always believed in quality over quantity. So at the time, there was a lot of stuff that was out there that literally didn't look as cool, or the quality wasn't really there. But we always stuck to our guns and said, you know what, like, even if it takes us a year to produce this like series, we're going to make sure like it's the best like it can actually be. So when we put it out, we're not thinking, oh, we could have done that better. Even though you are always your worst critic, your biggest enemy, and you always think that it can be better, but you know, we wanted it to be a certain standard, and I think that reflected. And then so one thing led to another. Brands came to us. We started getting flown around to different countries and doing festivals, covering things, and there was a demand for the content that we was creating, which then made myself and Andre go back and be like, do you know what, we need to actually sit down and like rethink this, because this isn't just like a series that we're doing anymore. Like, we can make money from this.
Yeah. So it's almost like that all happened by accident. Like the business kind of blossomed out of.
Business kind of blossomed by chance. Yeah. I mean, as I say, we'd say accident because we never sat down and said, you know what, we're going to start a business. That wasn't how it happened. As I've just explained, it was kind of like, I think we both had intentions of obviously starting that series that we started, which was known as THRDS TV back in the day. And the idea behind that was to, first of all, for me to kind of enhance my presenting skills and to get more practice in front of a camera and to kind of build my skills up and get more experience, because that's what I was about. I wanted to be a presenter. I didn't want to be a business owner. I wanted to present. And Andre owned a fashion brand at the time. I don't even know if you know this, but Andre owned a fashion brand at the time.
No, I didn't know.
And we started the show because he wanted to basically get his brand out there. So he wanted me to wear the merchandise and then kind of like speak to other brands. So we was kind of like soft dropping the brand out there. So visually you'd see it like on screen, and you'd then become accustomed to it a little bit more, and you'd start subconsciously like knowing what the brand was. But then it just got bigger and better. Like, do you know what I mean? The brands that we were speaking to were brands that we never kind of first imagined that we was going to be speaking to, and we were speaking to some decent brands, and then the stuff that we was doing outside in the streets, like we was going out speaking to the public. And then we had a feature called My Style, where we get like which you've appeared on, where we get like a personality or a musician or an artist or an actor and take them shopping, which was the original concept. It's a bit different now, because now we do like a shoot with them, rather than, but it's still all about style and their style, and you know, they get styled, and we talk about the brands and things like that, as well as visually being like pretty cool. So once we realized that, you know, that the managers of these artists really wanted to do the content, the brands were like this is something that we actually need, and the views that we were getting, we were like, well, do you know what, we can actually start charging people. Like, we can start charging brands to do this content. We can start, you know, making money from doing the My Styles if we start partnering up with like a store or something like that. And then we started meeting with other creators, from different walks of life, like graphic designers and videographers. And we was like a little, I hate to use the word collective, because we wasn't really a collective, but we was just a group of people who really wanted to just succeed and like just create cool stuff. So none of us were getting paid. Like, we was all just doing it just for the love of it. And you know, so many people have come and gone because of that. Obviously, when money's not involved, it's, you know, there's no pressure to kind of stay there. No one's forcing you to do what you're doing. So obviously, people come and go. And now, I think at like 5-6 years later, we're now a business that is now structured much better than, you know, we was back then. But if you told me back then that, you know, today I'd be doing like health and safety and contracts and, you know, finance and stuff like that, I'd be like, what? No, mate, what are you talking about? I don't know nothing about that stuff. Yeah. So
it comes with it.
Yeah, just like with everything, I just feel like, you know, if you need to, like, if you need to know something, you need to teach yourself it, or you need to get someone to teach you. Like, it's just, it comes with it. So. Like with finance, or, you know, health and safety, or contracts, or disclaimers and non-disclosures and all of that stuff, it's like you need to teach yourself about it. Same way that the creative side, like, we taught ourselves how to edit. Like, no one knew how to edit, but being around editors, I know how to edit pretty decent. Like, if I need to do a video, so half the stuff on like my socials, on my Instagram at JLondon, it's like it's like edited.
And your vlogs as well.
Yeah, like my vlogs, the JLondon Diary stuff, I've got someone on that.
Okay.
Because I wanted it to be a better quality, because I'm not an editor. To someone who really probably isn't from a creative background, might watch my videos and be like, oh, your editing's really sick, but it's actually not that. Like, you know, I'm not an editor. But it's definitely more than good enough for like Instagram socials. And I've got the eye for it and the vision for it, which is why the business and the THRDS side of it, which is why we've always managed to produce quality stuff, because me and Dre, we've really got a good creative eye for how how we want it to look. So even though I might not have the actual skills or know the tools that I need to use to actually make that video, you know, have a certain effect or whatnot, because I just ain't really got the time. It's not my passion to actually be sitting down and doing that myself.
You know your strengths.
Yeah, and I can sit down with someone who is like, if you was to sit me down with someone who is a good editor, with mine and Dre's creative eye, then the video, like, we can say will be an incredible video, because we're going to use all of our skills together. You're going to be a sick editor. We're going to be able to like come together and be like, okay, cool, that looks good, that doesn't look good, and then we're going to be able to produce content for some of these big brands that we're working with. So it's kind of what's got us to where we are today. And a lot of brands come to us basically for our creative brains and the way that we kind of think. And myself and Andre are realizing that a lot more, that there's a real value on that, and we need to obviously cherish that and hold that quite highly, because before it was something that was probably given away for free. Without really realizing that, you know, a lot of people were kind of just like not so much stealing information, but getting a lot of guidance and stuff from us when, you know, they should really be paying for it.
Yeah. When did you realize that?
Probably about a year ago.
Yeah,
not even that long ago, probably about a year ago, because we've been so focused on just pleasing the client, or, you know, making sure that the customer's always right. So yeah, it took a little while to realize, you know, that you can actually charge people to sit down and like have a consultation like that. As I said, neither of us did business, so we wouldn't have known or been aware of that.
Yeah,
we're just doing what we feel we need to do and tell these people that we're sitting down with that we can do this and we can do that to try and, you know, sell what we're selling to them, knowing that we can produce that content. But now it's like, okay, cool, we can tell you what we're going to do, but if you want to like consultation, then there's a fee for that, because, you know, you could say, yeah, okay, cool, maybe, and then you can run away and just have all of that juice and all those ideas
exactly.
anyway.
And then just run with it.
And then just run with it and maybe do something that might not look as good, but you've still got so much knowledge there that you might not have had before. And I don't claim to be some sort of guru, but, you know, there's clearly something is working if we're doing the work that we're doing, and we're managing to secure the people that we're working with, and we're only getting bigger and building over the last 5 years. So we're happy to have our own space now, which we've had for a little while, but now the space that we're in is a lot bigger. We've moved from one studio to another now. The office space that we're in is a lot bigger as well, which we're really happy about. And yeah, it's just kind of still just treating that hobby as, you know, turning it into a business and realizing, you know, the business side of things and how to make things tick over, and VAT and tax. All of that stuff, which again, I never thought I'd be doing. Like when most of my friends went to college and uni to study business, and I'm like, why are you doing that? That's boring. Like business studies, not interested. And now I'm like, damn,
I could use that.
I need some business studies. Hey mate, you know that business course that you did? Do you want to come and give me a little hand? So yeah.
What did you study or did you go uni?
I didn't go to uni. No, I went to college and I did art. And I think, like with a lot of young people, maybe in this day and age, I did it because I didn't know what else to do. I just kind of wanted to long it out. Like I knew when I left school, I had to go to college. So it was just the norm. Like, you know, so what subject do I do? Oh, I'm really good at art. I do art. I don't really like the other subjects. I wasn't really that good in school, like academically. Like I was never that kid that was like good at tests or even listening in class. Like I was very talkative, or my attention span was just like, I was always getting told to stand outside because I'm making too much noise, or being blamed for doing something I didn't actually even do.
Right. But you fit the mold.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Jay.
Yeah. So it was Jay, stand outside. But I didn't even, and sometimes like, because I enjoyed English, and I remember there was a few times I got kicked out of English when we was like reading a book and stuff, and I was like, I want to know what's going on. I actually want to know what's going on in the book. Like, I'm actually learning. Like, don't kick me out now. Like, I'm learning. But yeah, get out and just got to stand outside. So that was always me in school. Just not even so much causing mischief, but as I say, my attention span, that's just what it was. Like, it wasn't really there. Like, I wanted to just do stuff.
Is that where you kind of found a passion for communicating, i.e. like presenting?
No, at that point in life, I didn't even acknowledge presenting as a thing. I was always a person that felt that they could get on with anyone. Like, I'm always a person I find it easy to speak to people, like regardless, unless like you're just really awkward. But I never sort of saw that as a craft, as a thing, as a passion, as a talent. I don't even know where the roots of the presenting came from, but I just knew I wanted to be a presenter. Like when I had that epiphany, and I realized that was what my calling was.
When did you get that epiphany? Like, was there a moment where it was like, Yeah, no, actually, I really want to do that.
So after I finished college, I managed to get a job, and it was a good job. It was designing adverts in newspapers. So it was kind of creative,
Yeah,
but still not really creative, because Monday was the same as next Monday, Tuesday was the same as next Tuesday, Wednesday you send it to press, Thursday you start it again.
what newspaper was it?
So local newspapers like Newham Recorder, Romford Recorder,
Okay. Yeah.
Hackney
Newham lad
Gazelle,
here.
like all of that stuff. So it was in Ilford,
I remember where it was.
Archant, London.
Yeah.
So down next to there's a pub there. There's like a car place there, and it's opposite Dreams.
Yeah, opposite Dreams.
Yeah,
opposite the old swimming pool.
Yeah. So there, Archant, London. So there was like an advert in the Romford Recorder for like a planning assistant is what it was called. I don't know what it was. It just like working for Archant London newspaper magazine company. And I was like, whoa, this is sick. Like, I want to do this.
So you was in college at these times?
I had just finished college. Yeah. So it was either, and there was like a lot of people that applied for it. So I think like I went for the interview and they were like, yeah, you're like thousands of people have applied for this and we want to offer you the job. And I was like, that's amazing. Like that was like, for me, that was the biggest achievement that I had at that point in my life. And I was like, this is amazing. Like my mum's going to be so proud. I'm not going to uni because now I'm making money. So what am I going to uni for? I don't need to go uni. So that was my attitude. And I was like, the other thing was I didn't know what I wanted to study in uni anyway. I knew art wasn't the way forward because they gave me a false hope. They gave me a promise that at the end of the course, they were going to take us through things and they was going to show us what we could do with the stuff that we had learned. And that never happened. We did art. And a lot of the art I didn't agree with, like Marshall Duchamp's urinal and things like that. Like I've always, still to this day, believe that art is something that, you know, you can look at and be like, wow, like that's something that I can't do. Like that's amazing. Like you're so talented. How did you draw that? How did you sculpt that? How did you create that? Like I can't, like, even if we're talking about music, it's like you hear a track and it's like, that track's amazing because I can't do that.
Right.
You done that and that sounds sick. So like, I don't know how you done that. You are talented. So it's the same way, like if I look at like pictures or artwork now, it's like I find it amazing to see stuff and it's like, wow, how are you that talented to do that? So when someone just gets a urinal and says like, this is art, but then they have a good explanation as to why they believe it's art, that's what art became. It was more about the explanation, about the pieces
like
of
the
work,
context.
the context about it, which is why I failed GCSE art, because I just drew the picture, which looked sick, but then there was no like context behind it.
Right.
So they were like, sorry, fail.
It's annoying.
Yeah, but it wasn't for me anyway. So I didn't know what I wanted to do at uni. So then I applied for this job. I got the job, and then I kind of just found myself working there for a bit until I became bored of just doing the same thing all the time. And I was still at a young age. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I kind of just sat down and said, everyone was starting to get this is the recession time, so everyone was starting to get made redundant now.
Right.
So like half the team had already gone. Then they made like half the editorial team go like the next month.
Yeah.
Then like another batch of people got made redundant another month. And then like it was our turn. So then we were told like in a month's time, they're moving the whole business to Norwich.
Oh, wow.
So either you move to Norwich or your job's gone and we'll just pay you off, whatever.
Wow.
And I was way too young to be thinking about moving out. Must have been about 19 at the time. Like I was no way brave enough to be like, I'm going to go and move
to Norwich,
to Norwich. So I had a decision to make, and I was like, what would be my dream job? That was literally it. Like I sat down one day and I was like, what would I love to do? Like what is out of the norm, out of the ordinary, something that I don't actually think that is possible, because, you know, people like us who come from council estates, surrounded by people who are doing like drugs or just out on the street, just waste men, just doing whatever, like just not actually being productive and just not actually making anything out of their lives, don't really come out of that to do things. This was my mentality at the time. Obviously now being a lot older, I know that half the people that are doing the things that we do come from that background. But at that time I was like, I can't do that. Like I live here. Like, you know, I mean, this is like not the ghetto, but this is rough. Like, how am I going to be on BBC One when I live here? Like, so which again is like I think a lot of the mentality of a lot of young people now, which is why when I do a lot of these talks at like schools and unis or like whatever it is, I'm trying to get that into their head that, you know, I used to think like that too. So I sat there and I thought, what would be the dream job? And I was a big fan of Jonathan Ross at the time.
Okay.
So me and mum, we always used to just sit down and watch TV, like growing up, like Saturday night TV or whatever. So I spent a lot of time doing that. And Jonathan Ross, like the Jonathan Ross show was like my favorite. Like I loved Jonathan Ross show, and I was like, I want to do that. Like that would be amazing. Like that's not work. Like you're sitting on TV, watched by millions of people, speaking to all of your favorite like artists or actors, like rubbing shoulders with all these people, and you're getting paid to talk to them and find out even more information about these people. It's like that is not work. That is a dream job.
Yeah.
And for me, that was the moment. I wanted to be Jonathan Ross. So that's when it started. Boom. Cool.
I never would have guessed that.
Mission, become Jonathan Ross. It's changed now. Like, obviously, he's still like one of my idols, one of my inspirations. But now I'm just trying to be the best. I think
everyone, if you grew up in London or England and you're interested in entertainment, you definitely wanted to be on Jonathan or want to be on Jonathan.
Yeah. BBC One. This was the BBC One times, not
even ITV times.
Not the City ITV one now. No, I don't even like that one now. The BBC One. When he'd come out, he'd do his intro, and it was funny. Do you know what I mean? It was funny. He'd be on the stage, and it was just such an enjoyable show. Funny enough, I was watching Ant and Dec's Saturday Night Takeaway yesterday, just while I was getting ready to go out, and that is such a good show. Like
I haven't seen it.
It is so it's so well produced.
Really?
It's so like natural. Like they're just having fun.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Like there's actually no structure to the show. It's weird. It's a little bit celebrity juice.
Okay.
But they have all these random things that just happen in the show. But it's just the energy is just mad. It's just it's such a cool show, and it's kind of the same feeling that I had as a kid when I was watching Jonathan Ross. Like this is just a fun thing to be on. So yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be on TV, and I wanted to make a living out of doing something that I believed I would love, and that was literally it.
I know it was full steam ahead.
Yeah. So from there, it was full steam ahead. Got myself a mic. I said, what? Okay, cool. What do I need to do? Like, what do I need to do to get on TV? I need to practice. So first of all, I don't know nothing about TV. I don't know nothing about production. I don't know nothing about presenting. What I need to do.
Is this all before like YouTube as well?
YouTube was might have been before YouTube. Wow, we that old?
Yeah, I think so.
Shit,
we're getting it.
Shit. Okay. Yeah, it might have been before YouTube because I did a podcast.
There you go.
And I think if YouTube was there, it would have been visual. Or maybe I wasn't brave enough. I think YouTube was there. We're going to have to Google when YouTube started. But either way, I was just like, I think the best way to get onto TV is by doing radio. So I was like, okay, cool. Like I said, like I was thinking, no one's really just going to pick, you know, this guy here and be like, yeah, we're going to put you on TV. You need experience. You need to build your way up. Like, and that has always been something that has stayed with me from day one. Like, if you want something, you have to work for it. Like, and that's something that is lost in so many elements these days. A lot of people just look at people and think, okay, cool. They just worked maybe for about a year and they got there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, that's not how it works.
No.
But somehow, I don't know how I knew or who taught me, but I just knew, like, if I wanted this, I'm going to need to work incredibly hard for it. And it's not going to start by me going to a casting and just get picked. That's not how it's going to run. You need to practice, and what's easier than probably TV is probably radio. That was my thought. And I was like, okay, cool. What can I do to get some practice with radio? And it was just to buy a mic and start a podcast in my room. So I did that. My mum thought I was nuts because I was just sitting in my room chatting on the J Show, which is what I called it at the time.
Sick. Was it just you, or was you interviewing people?
It was just me. So just me. I did like news and stuff at the beginning, which is kind of like what I do now on Capital Xtra. So it's mad.
Imagine that.
Yeah, it's mad.
Wow.
So I did like news, like celebrity news. Obviously, it's a lot different to the news that I would present now on Capital Xtra, because now I actually know what I'm doing. Before then, I really didn't really know what I was doing, but I just wanted to just do it. So I was talking about celebrities that was just in our faces, like, you know, like Paris Hilton or Lindsay Lohan and Justin Bieber and like people like that was just doing stuff, and I was like, okay, cool, just do news out of that. This was way before Drake. If Drake was there, I would have had so much content.
Yeah, yeah,
he does something every week.
That's right.
So there was that segment, and then I'd have then I'd play like a song, like just one song. Then I'd have like an interview segment where like it would be like this. I'd go out and I'd speak to whoever I could get my hands on, like whoever had what would probably be known as now like 400, 500, 600 followers up. Like I didn't care. Yeah. Like literally for me it wasn't about, obviously we didn't have Instagram back then, but it managed to allow me to speak to a few people and use my connections in that field. And then without even realizing it, I learned early to utilize the people that were around me. So at my job that I was still doing at the newspaper company, I sat next to one of my best colleagues, one of my mates. He's still one of my mates now, called Alex, and he's like an IT genius. Like I don't know how this guy, and he didn't even study IT. Like now he does IT, but then like he didn't even study IT, but he was always getting asked to do this or do that and blah 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 blah. So he could build websites. He could build websites
from back then.
Yeah, from back then he knew how to like code and HTML and all of that stuff. And I'm like, how do you? But it was so natural to him. He thought that everyone else knew how to do it, and he was just like, yeah, it's a piece of piss. So he helped me to build this very basic website, which really worked for the J Show. It literally just said the J Show. Each letter was like you could click on it and it would take you to a different part of the site. So like the J was about, the O was like the podcast. The H was like gallery or something like that, and it would just slide out, and then at the top I think there was just like a little speaker that you'd click on and it would have like an arrow and then like podcast, and you just click there and you can just listen to it, so people could stream it from there and just listen to the website. I mean listen to the podcast on the website. So I got him to help me with that, and then eventually it just kind of took off. Like I had another friend who worked at Sony at the time.
Sony Music.
Yeah, he was doing Universal. Sorry, he moved to Sony after. So he was working at Universal, and he was, I think, interning there. But he had a few little connections here and there. So he managed to like get me, which was the biggest interview at the time, with Deneo, and I was like, this is amazing. Like
this is like Funky House times.
Yeah, this is during funk. This is like Devil in a blue dress, African Warrior.
Yeah. Wow.
Like all of that stuff, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna interview Deneo. It's amazing. This was like episode 4 or 5.
Oh wow!
And I remember I travelled. Yeah, I travelled all the way to like, I don't know, probably somewhere like Croydon, or we're in East, by the way. Somewhere like Croydon or Surrey or something like that. I can't even remember, but it was far. I remember sitting down in like this little studio, just waiting for him. I had to wait for him for about half an hour. Then he came in, and I was like, Deneo, sick. And then I got to interview Deneo, and that was one of the people. I got to interview someone who was on Choice at the time as well, called Lucy Ambash. She was doing the breakfast show with Martin J at the time. Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah, remember them.
Yeah, so I got to interview her, and it was just all about the persistence, man. Like I would be emailing, just like speaking to whoever I could speak to, and just like connecting and just trying my best to just try and reach out to all of these people until just one of them came through. So one of those people happened to be her, and that's what got me into the global building.
Oh wow! Of course.
Yeah, so that's what got me into the building, to get my foot into the door, to now lead to what I'm doing 5 years later. So
that's nuts.
Yeah, it's all crazy, man.
That is nuts.
It's all crazy because, as I say, none of it's planned. And again, like when I'm doing, I don't know if people listening know, but this year I've been doing a lot of talks around the country. I've been to like Birmingham, Manchester. We were supposed to go to Belfast, but it cancelled because of all the snow that we had. London, we did on Saturday. We've got another one in London coming up as well. Basically helping people, like young people aged between 18 and 25, I think, get into the industry, like whether it's presenting on music or whatever it is. And I've been invited to do a lot of these things to kind of speak and just try and spread a little bit of the journey and some knowledge with them to kind of, make them understand that they can do what they want to do. And one of the things that I always tell them and say to them is, if you have enough persistence and determination, it's just going to lead you to where you want to go, because I'm speaking from experience. Like I was just like you on that side of the deck. Like I went to so many seminars,
Yeah, exactly.
listening to me, trying to work out how to get there. So I think, that's why they resonate a lot with it, because they know that I'm coming from a genuine place and I've done it the hard way. Like it took me a good 5 or 6 years to get the show that I'm doing now. Even though that was the foot in the door, like I worked for a year for free on Choice FM, like producing and trying to do cover shows and trying to get a break, not being able to afford lunch sometimes, and just like just being broke. Got to a stage where I had to sign on because I wasn't working. I had at this point I was made redundant from the job that at Archant, and I had to sign on even though I was working at Choice, but I wasn't getting paid for it. So like I'm doing the dream. I'm meeting all of these amazing celebrities, and they're like treating me like I'm part of the like that I work there, and everyone thinks that I work there. I don't work there. Like I don't work there. I became an asset because after I did that interview, I was fortunate enough to get asked to come back to just shadow the show for a little bit and, have a look and see how it works. But then I made sure I made myself an asset. So like, a day became a week, and then a week became 4 weeks, and then a month became 6 months, and then 6 months became a year, to a point where they trusted me to cover the show and produce the show when the producer was off, so she could now go on holiday, and they had now a safe pair of hands to do that, which they then started to pay me for. And
but had you have gone into that situation with, I'm looking to get paid from it, you wouldn't have lasted that long.
Of course not. Yeah, of course not. And a lot of people don't realise that in this day and age. So I don't even know. I don't even know where it came from. I think, I don't know, I just got to thank mum probably. Like, even though me and my mum's never sat down and had a conversation about, you need to work hard and you need to do like, my mum's never been like that. She's just kind of just led by example. But
what does your mum do?
She's retired now. My mum's quite old.
Yeah.
So she's retired now.
But she always had that like heart, like that drive.
I think like a lot of West Indian parents, like they're driven because, they come from a different country. They've come over here to work, and they just have to work their arse off because, they've got kids, they've got rent to pay, they've got to put food on the table. And that's always been my mum. Like she's always like provided for us. We've never been rich, but we've never been poor. Like we've never been like, we can't afford to eat, or we can't afford, like maybe, okay, cool, I want them trainers, can't have those, just get those ones.
Exactly.
but like we've never really been like, oh man, like, we're struggling. Do you know what I mean? Because my mum's she's always provided, which is why now, like, I'll give her like anything, like as much as I can give. So so I don't know. I think maybe that was kind of what crafted the elements and that burning desire inside of me to just want to do more, because the thing that always has driven me is to try and help her. So I've always wanted to make her proud, and always wanted to like just do as much as I can to show her that like I'm a success, and once she's happy, then like I'm good. So like I'm like, yeah, mum, like I know you live here, like, and then as I've got older, I've started to realise that like the area that we live in isn't a nice area. So it's like, but you don't even know better than this, mum. Like I need to get you out of this area, so I need to work harder now. So it's like that's always been my drive. But I don't even know how the money thing never came into it, because even with Fred's, like with the business, like with the amount of stuff that we had done for free, like I think we worked for free for at least 2 years before we was getting paid anything. And I've always just been a believer that things will just balance out, and if you work hard enough, you'll get what is earned. So I get a little bit pissed off when I see stuff given to people, or like if their dad owns a company and they just start working for that company, or they're a reality TV on like reality TV, they're actually not like talented or have a craft, but then they get made like a presenter because they've got hundreds of thousands of followers because they're a pretty boy or a pretty girl, and they look good. But so, which is something we can't change. No, I'm not mad at these people.
Everyone starts to race at different
Yeah. So I'm happy for them. That's fine. But I'm just in general, I just feel like those people that come from that kind of shallow place and don't have to put in the graft, they don't have to sign on, they don't have to go hungry for a few days and not have lunch, they don't have to you know, put in that amount of work. Like, I was waking up at 4:30 in the morning, going to Capital, to Choice to produce the breakfast show. At this time now, I'd found a job working at Virgin Media in Stratford.
Wow.
I was there for 5 years. At this time now, I'd found a job in Virgin Media, so I was waking up at 4:30, going to breakfast show at 5 in the morning. That would finish at 12, and then I'd leave from there to go to Virgin Media and then work, like literally just get there like on time, maybe enough time to just like grab a quick Subway, and then work 1 till 9, and then do the same thing again the next day. And I did that for a year. Yeah, and I wasn't getting paid from Choice FM at the time, but it was the passion, man. It was the I want to be Jonathan Ross. I want that show. Like, I want to be on TV. I want to make my mum proud. I want to do as much as I can before I die. I'm getting closer to it. Keep going. Like, it's actually a possibility now. I'm next to Kim Kardashian. Wow. Like, I never thought I'd be in this room. I'm next to Daniel Craig. Whoa. Like, me. I live here. Like, I'm with Daniel Craig. I'm with James Bond right now. Like, what? This is crazy. Okay, cool. I'm getting closer. I'm sharing a lift with Justin Bieber. What? I did, like, news about you on my podcast, like 5 months ago. Like, I'm in a lift with you. This is crazy. Man. Okay, cool. I'm in a building. I'm surrounded by all of these things. And I'm like, I need to stay in this building. And I need to just keep going because I can get this slot. Like, I can do this. Like, I can keep doing demos. I can keep doing stuff. And it just wasn't coming, man. It just wasn't coming. Like, so many knockbacks. Like, I was doing demos. I was doing cover shows. They were starting to trust me a little bit, doing like the overnight, like graveyard shift, which is like 3 in the morning till like 6.
Wow.
Or like 2 till 6, I think. Like, some of the shifts.
Were you producing that show, or you was actually?
No, I managed to do some of the presenting for those shows. Yeah. And what was?
That's where you cut your teeth on live air.
Yeah. That's where they say you kind of like, you can make mistakes and you can kind of learn a lot more. So if ever you sort of like get into a big station or get onto a big station, you 9 times out of 10 you'll start by doing like the overnights before they move you into a more like daytime slot. But it just wasn't coming. It wasn't happening. Like, it wasn't happening. They were. What was annoying was they was telling me I was good, and for me that's no help.
So if I'm good, how do I get on?
Right. So I'm just sitting down with them like every couple of months, and at this point, like, I'm no one. Like, I don't have much. I don't know my worth. Like, I've got nothing to like say to people like, oh, you need to do this. Like, you need to give me a slot. And I would never be like that because, you know, to this day, I don't believe that anyone owes you anything. You can't be like that. No. But there's a level and there's a fine line, because you can allow people to just take you on for a ride. And if I didn't sort of shut that down and know my worth and actually put my foot down at some point, I'd still probably be doing that now, like doing the cover shows or just coming in and out. And, you know, they call me like once a month or twice a month when they need me. Oh, Jay, can you cover this? Like, or like, and it was tricky because they wanted me to produce more than present, because I was good at producing. So, you know, that was the opportunity that you gave me. Right. So I'm going to make sure I'm sick at this. Like, if you give me something, I'm going to make it the best that it can be. So I was good at it, like producing. That the producer loved me on the show because she'd come in, she'd be stressed. Like, oh, I need to do all of this. I'm like, well, it's done. Like, I've done it already. Like, it's cool, chill. Oh, that's what got me to stay there for so long, because I became an asset. So it was frustrating because they were telling me like, you're good. We're going to actually advise some of the other presenters to do like some of the links this way that you're doing it, because that actually sounds good. Like, I might mention that to that presenter because that actually could sound good. I'm like, what? Like, you're going to like, but I'm here. And then it wasn't even a thing where like with radio, someone needs to leave in order for you to come. Right. So I wasn't trying to take anyone's job, because that's not what I believe in karma. Like, I'm not there to try to push anybody. I'm not trying to push anybody out, but you know, I just want to be on the radio. I want to be on the station. So give me whatever it is. But whenever they'd refix it and bring in new presenters, I was never one of them. So there was like, they went through like 2 changes or 2 or 3 changes. Some people left, they brought in new presenters, and I was still there to a point where I just couldn't do it anymore. And it wasn't even a conscious decision. I never sat down and said, oh, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I can't do this. Like, it's long. I need to get paid, and I need consistency, and I need to know like what is happening. I need to know like where my wages are coming from, because I'm working at Virgin Media, which again I'm doing well there. Like, I was like one of the top salespeople in the region there, because again I'm trying to do the best I can do, because I was signing on before, so now I know I need to keep this job.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
so I need to
smash it in everything.
So I've got to smash it in everything that I'm doing, but at this time I'm also running a business. So this is when THRDS actually started now. So this is when it kind of started transitioning from the hobby into the business. When we sat down, we restructured it, we changed it from THRDS TV to THRDS. And now me and Dre are like, okay, cool, how can we make this machine work for us now? So it was at that point that I kind of left Global Radio, which is now Capital Xtra, because we went from Choice to Capital Xtra. I was there during the transition. And yeah, like everyone, as I say, everyone thought that I worked there, because I was in the building for like 3, 4, 5 years.
Wow.
Like in and out.
Yeah,
in and out, like not I did a year consecutively, and then like after that it was very on and off. So sometimes they'd call me like around Christmas and stuff. They'd ask me to do covers. They'd ask me to do like producing. I'd produce with Kojo. So I did assistant producing with Lucy Ambash and Martin J. Then it was Kojo and Max. Then Kojo by himself. Then Kojo and Jade Avia. Then Kojo by himself again. So Kojo then got a slot on weekends, and he wanted me to produce his show for him, because me and him really got on. And when we kind of worked together, we was creating some funny, good content. Because Breakfast Show back then on Capital Xtra is a lot different to how it is now. There was a lot more interaction. There was a lot more phone calls. There was a lot more games, competitions. It was just crazy. So we was coming up with like some controversial shit, and just it was fun to listen to. So he wanted me to produce, and there was a stage that I had to decide whether I wanted to continue like pushing for what I was doing, or take this opportunity now and like become his producer on Saturday. And that was one of the hardest decisions of my life. Yeah, because I wanted to be in that building so bad regularly, and that would have been like a regular wage, and I turned it down because I knew that I wanted to be a presenter. Wow. And I knew that...
And this is what... So hold on, just to give a timeline. From that initial epiphany moment, when you looked at Jonathan Ross, to this point now, how long was that?
About 3.5 years, I'd say. Maybe 4 years. 3 years.
Wow.
3 years, yeah.
And you kept that initial spark. It's like
the initial spark, because it was growing.
Yeah.
Because the more I was doing, the closer I was getting to it, and the more I was seeing how I didn't actually have any idea how enjoyable it actually was. Like, it's actually, I didn't even realize that, it's, even though it's nervous and it's a hard, like a lot of people think that presenting is really easy. They think you just pick up a mic or whatever and you actually just talk, and that's really not the case. But it was just, I was getting closer to it, and I was getting experience. Like, I was on Choice FM like a few days, and I was like, wow, I'm on the radio. Like, I'm nearly there. Like, I'm doing a show. I'm broadcasting to millions. Like, I'm taking selfies. I'm like, yes, I'm here. I'm in the building. Yeah. We was doing stuff on THRDS, like, and I was getting like some on-screen stuff there. We did like a pilot with Top Man, where we spoke to like Gets, and I was then now associated with like Top Man, because I'm very much, obviously running a fashion brand, I became very much into style and fashion. Yeah. So that was like amazing. I was like, yeah, wicked. Like, I'm with Top Man. I'm working with Top Man. Like, I'm presenting a show. Even as a pilot, I'm presenting a show for Top Man. Like, your logo's on there. I'm doing this like for you. Yeah. So I'm getting little tastes. And again, one of the things that I think a lot of people that are trying to strive for a specific thing, it might not necessarily be presenting, it might be anything, like singing, rapping, songwriting, producing, acting. A lot of people look at the end goal and see that as like the place that is the success, but you need to try and take each success as it comes, because for me it's hard. It's weird to hear me say that back now, because I've always been, and any of my ex-girlfriends will tell you, I've always been that person that doesn't celebrate anything. Right. So if I got the show on Choice, I'm like, okay, no, that's cool. Like, yeah, but I need to do the next thing. That is like, I can't sit here and focus on this right now. Like, I understand that we're happy. They're happy. Okay, cool. Let's celebrate 10 seconds. Now let's go. Because
let's go to the next thing.
Yeah, because I'm not there yet. So what are we celebrating for? I'll celebrate when I don't need to work anymore. Like when I don't need to hustle anymore. When I can just sit on the beach in St. Lucia and just be like chilling, then I'm good. Yeah. Until then, like, let me work. So I've always been like that, and it's only now as I'm older that I've realised I need to like chill out a little bit and take each moment as it comes and celebrate those opportunities. But I'm still not doing it. Like, I'm still a victim.
It is a hard thing to do.
So I was on Channel 5 last Sunday. Yeah. And I didn't even know I was on Channel 5 until Andre messaged me.
Yeah, okay.
So I knew that the show was coming, but when they emailed me, I kind of skim read the date because I was doing like about 3 other things at the same time. And in my head, I didn't realise it was only like 3 or 4 days later that the show was going to be aired, because I thought they would have given us a bit more notice. So I just saw March, but we were still in February. So when I see March now, I was just like, that's March, like that's ages away.
Yeah.
But then the way that the months crossed over, because February is such, I think the last day of February was like near the end of the week.
Yeah.
So then when March came, it was just like, it still felt like it was February. So I'm at home playing FIFA, and then Andres messaged me and he's like, why didn't you tell me he was on Channel 5? I'm like, what? Is it on now? So
that's crazy.
Going back to the point, it's like, even that is like such a massive thing for me as an individual to feel like I've been on TV. Like, that is now, like, even now speaking to you, like, that was the dream. Like, looking back at like 5-6 years ago, I just accomplished it. I've just got onto the television, but I'm not appreciating it as much because I'm surrounded by all of these other people that are always on TV,
right? Or,
you know, they're always doing something big, or they're always like on radio, or they're always like speaking to this famous person. So again, social media, like, that's probably another podcast, but it's so easy to get surrounded by that stuff and get sucked up by it and believe that something that's really important to you might not be important to the world, and you don't celebrate it as much. But
yeah, exactly, because of what other people
so it's like,
I've been victim to that as well, like in terms
all
of
the time.
Like, you'll have a goal and you'll achieve that goal, and then in achieving that goal, you're then with people that have achieved it. But to those people, what you've achieved is like,
that's nothing. They've done that normal. 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's like, that's mine.
That's
like
nothing. I'm about to host the Brit Awards. Like, right, okay, exactly. Well done. That is, but they'd never be like that.
No, exactly. It's just all going on in your head.
In your head.
Exactly.
They'll probably be really happy for you.
Of course.
So it's like, okay, I'm looking at this thing. I'm on Channel 5, and I'm telling people around me. But the problem is, some of the people that I'm telling around me, they've already done the show. They've done that show last year.
Right.
So they're like, oh yeah, I did that last year. I'm like, oh, okay. Just brings you back down, like, okay, right, cool.
Oh yeah.
But now I'm like, today I'm just like, no, like I'm really proud of that. I'm really happy. Good. And my mum was proud. She's like, that's my son on TV. So I'm like, yes. But there's been a few things that I've achieved that I'm proud about that I probably won't even speak about as much, because as I say, I just don't even. It's just on. It's either that it's on to the next one, or I don't believe that it is as significant as it is. So when I'm around people like that I used to work with at Virgin Media, because like we still catch up, we're still good friends. Like when they see me, they treat me like I'm famous. They're like, "Oh, Jay London, like, yeah, bro, you're smashing it, bro. Like, you're like, can I have your autograph?" And all that? And I'm like,
I'm still the same.
I'm still the same person. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're an idiot. But for them, it's massive. Like. This person who I used to work with is on Channel 5. Like, he done a campaign with TfL for London. He's across like 500 train stations underground. He's on Capital Xtra. Like, he's doing all of these things, and it's like he's smashing it. And I'm like, for me, it's just part of, like, I'm just doing what I'm doing. Yeah. Like, I'm not. Yeah, and it's only, I think it's only yesterday that I realised that half of the reason that I play it down is because I'm around people that have achieved more than I've achieved. So I'm so used to speaking and being and conversating with these people. Like, I speak to Marvin Humes every day. Like, he works down the corridor for me.
Yeah.
So someone like him who is so successful, it's like, for me, it's really weird to be like, I wouldn't even go to him and be like, oh, I was on Channel 5 like yesterday, because like he's hosting bloody like the Mobile Awards. Like he hosts the Mobile Awards.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, cool. Or he's on, like he done a thing like he called out the players at like Chelsea in Champions League the other day. Yeah, and like he DJ'd there, and like it's like he's doing all these amazing things. And like, obviously I follow him on Instagram.
Right.
We're good friends. So we're not good friends. Let me not beg it. Like, we're cool. We're cool. So, like, yeah, it's hard. And I've had to unfollow people on Instagram because of that. Like, I get compared to Reggie Yates a lot. And I was following Reggie for time. I had to unfollow Reggie because I'm kind of starting to see myself, like, not so much in him, but, like, he's doing a lot of the things that I'm, like, trying to do, or we're on similar paths. Obviously, he's a lot further ahead of me, but it's like seeing someone who's a lot further ahead of me who shares similarities with you. You're like, okay, I'm actually not achieving much because I should be there.
That might skew your actual natural journey.
I put it out on social media a little while ago, and it was I think like one of my little quote things that I done, and I just said, don't let somebody else's journey distract you from your own journey, because it's very easy to happen. And I think a lot of people, I'm just happy that I realised that I was a victim of it, because there's so many people that don't realise it.
Yeah.
When you follow so many people who are doing so many amazing things, it's so easy to be like, it can go one of two ways. It can really inspire you to be like, I need to do more. But if you are doing as much as you can do, you can really feel disheartened by it, and you can really feel like, I'm not creating enough, I'm not doing enough, I'm not actually doing as well as I thought I was. And then that can really dent your journey and your passion and your commitment and your success and what you're trying to do. Yeah. So yeah, but I forgot where I was now on the story with the journey, with the timeline now.
Where was you?
I think we're in Virgin Media. Yeah, okay, cool. So I left Capital Xtra. And I was, so I've left. I've
this
left
is the crossroads moment.
Yeah, so this is a crossroads moment. I've left Capital Xtra now. I'm working in a retail shop, handing out flyers outside in Stratford Westfields, trying not to be seen too much, because I'm trying to build up a reputation as a presenter, as a person who doesn't work at a retail shop handing out flyers. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but you wouldn't catch Marvin Humes outside Virgin Media handing out flyers. So I'm not trying to make that perception. So, if I see someone who I think might recognise me, I'd hide. I wouldn't want them to see me. I'd be like,
quick hood up, turn around.
Let's go back indoors. It's like swift turn around. Okay, cool. And then back out. And it's like, Jay, get to the front of the store. It's like, And those moments were what made me realise I cannot work for somebody. Like, I cannot be told, you can go to toilet at this time. Can I go to toilet? No, you need to wait for this person to come back. Can I, like, I'm starving. Like, I haven't ate all day. I've just come from radio. Like, that's not their problem. I understand that. Like, you don't need to understand that, but have a little bit of compassion. Like, I'm going to work better if you just let me eat for 5 minutes. 5 minutes is all I ask. No, sorry, we can't. Like, it's busy. You need to start your shift. And it's like, okay, cool. I had some bastard managers. I had some managers that are a lot more understanding. And, at this point, I need to like big up some of the ones that were good, because they really understood that this wasn't my dream working a Virgin, and they cut me a lot of slack, and they helped to swap my shifts around when I had radio shows and things like that, which they didn't need to do. So I'll always anyone who has played a part in my life that has helped, I'll never forget it. Like Lucy Ambash, Toller, who produced the Breakfast Show, like Mike Osborne, like people like Hamza and Ryan, like my managers at Virgin Media. I'll never forget these people, because if it wasn't for them, it would have just been, I would still be doing it, but it would have been a lot harder.
Yeah, exactly.
It would have been a lot harder. So
big up to all of you.
Big up to all of you.
For making someone's life easier.
And Alex as well. There's probably so many people that I'm not shouting. Andre, like so many people that have played a part in this journey. Like, it's mad. But yeah, so I left Capital Xtra as the producer / overnight cover once in a while person, which I was now getting paid for when they was calling me in and out. And it wasn't a conscious decision. I never said I was going to move. Fred just became a lot busier. I had now started my own business, and it was going well.
Yeah.
Not so much in terms of like we was making lots of money, but there was so much potential there. Like we was getting so much clients, so much attention from other people. So now instead of doing Capital and Virgin, I was doing my own business in Virgin. And yeah, to kind of cut a semi-long story short, this is the first time I've actually ever gone into this much detail about the story, because whenever I do talks and stuff, it's only like 10 minutes. So I always really compress it. So I just hope I've not really blabbered.
No, not at all, man. The detail's good.
So yeah, then they asked me to come back. They called me back in like about a year later.
So we're going to stop it there for today. Tune back next week for part 2 of that interview. And check in with us on Wednesday. We're going to be doing a short catch up of this, what our main takeaways were, and catching up on the week's happenings in the world of creativity. So we'll see you then. Remember guys, we're just starting out and we really want this show to reach as many creators as possible. So please remember to review us on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter and everywhere at @for_the creators. Give us a shout, slide in our DMs. We'd love to hear from you. Peace.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.